Program Director, the esteemed Mboweni family, Your Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, comrades and fellow mourners. It is with a great sense of humility that I stand here today to say farewell to a distinguished son of our people, Tito Titus Mboweni, whom we shall forever honor as a revolutionary, a comrade, and a friend. I say this because members of the Mboweni family informed me a few days ago that in his written directives about this funeral, Comrade Tito said I should be one of the speakers. I therefore stand here today to say but a few words in order to respect the wishes of the departed. But before I say anything further, I take this opportunity to thank the highly respected Mr. Seth Palatsi for accompanying me as we drove here during the early hours of this morning from Johannesburg. I mention this because Seth Palatsi was determined to come here today to convey his personal farewell to his comrade Tito Mboweni, as well as communicate the heartfelt condolences of the staff and family of the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, to which both he and Tito belong. I'm privileged to have this opportunity to thank and salute the esteemed Mboweni family for agreeing to share its son with us of the African National Congress, as well as the nation as a whole, thus donating to the people a liberator. We are a mere 30 years into the period of our liberation, and yet the behavior of some in our society suggests that already we are forgetting what preceded that liberation. We are forgetting that a mere 4 years before Freedom Day in April 1994, it was illegal and even treasonable to belong to Tito's organization, the African National Congress. People were murdered, imprisoned, and driven into exile for mere membership and peaceful promotion of the objectives of the ANC. Massacres that are part of our bitter history, such as those at Sharpeville, Soweto, Buipatong, Shobashobane, Bisho, and elsewhere, took place simply to deny the millions of our people the freedom we enjoy today. On the very eve of the historic elections of April 1994, bombs were going off to terrorize the people not to participate in those elections, and thus deny our country the possibility to progress from white minority apartheid domination to the happy moment when the people would vote freely to choose their legislatures and government. These ugly moments confirm the truth that freedom was not free, that indeed freedom was very costly in terms of the lives of our people laid down and the immense sacrifices the families of the oppressed, including the Mboweni family, had to bear. Some among us might be asking themselves the question, why I'm reminding this solemn gathering about the painful past of the terrorism and inhumanity of the apartheid system and regime, which many clearly and understandably want to forget. I'm talking about that painful past to say something about the hero we are laying to rest today, Comrade Tito Mboweni. All of us throughout the ranks of the African National Congress are very proud that many decades ago, the young Tito decided to join the people's movement. And when he did so, he committed himself to serve the people, starting with their liberation from the yoke of apartheid. And when he made that commitment, he knew that this might cost him his life, but nevertheless stood by that commitment throughout the decades of his adult life. As he joined hands with the millions of our struggling people who were determined to liberate themselves, he knew that the only but invaluable prize and reward he would get would be the liberation of his people. When we say that Tito Mboweni was a tried and tested combatant for our liberation, we say so because we were together with him in the common trenches when to oppose the apartheid regime was to invite death. When ours and Tito's loyalty to that commitment, we serve the people of South Africa, dictated that he and all of us find ways and means to overcome fear of that death. Much has been said correctly about Tito's sterling contribution to the historic task to build the new democratic post-apartheid South Africa. There is no need for me to say anything further in this regard. However, this I must say, throughout this period, as I served as a senior official in the ANC, as well as Deputy President and President of the Republic, I always found it inspiring and energizing to be serving in the same ANC and government structures with Tito, always assured that in him we had a cadre who would always correctly discharge his responsibility as a leader and servant of our people. In the period leading up to April this year, I received many requests to make an assessment of our first 30 years of democracy. I responded to this request by delivering a public lecture on April 30th, greatly honored to do this at the unique and esteemed Freedom Park in Tshwane. Because of the importance of this address, we convened an expanded meeting of the Thabo Mbeki Foundation Council of Advisors to discuss the contents of that address. Tito Mboweni attended and participated actively in this meeting. At that meeting, we agreed that it was important to acknowledge that our country was experiencing a serious crisis, with such negative phenomena as high levels of unemployment, serious poverty affecting large numbers of our people, and persisting wealth and income inequality. We also agreed that we must tell this truth, that some among those who had fought against the ANC during the years of struggle against the apartheid regime never gave up their effort to defeat and destroy the ANC, working as counter-revolutionaries. These counter-revolutionaries had made a major contribution to the crisis I have just mentioned, determined to ensure that the ANC fails in its stated objective of providing a better life for all. Together with Comrade Tito, we agreed that so serious was the crisis situation I've mentioned that it was absolutely imperative that our nation as a whole should engage in a truly inclusive and first ever national dialogue to answer the questions: how do we pull our country out of its crisis, and what do we want South Africa to look like tomorrow? The call was very clear. Let the people speak to determine their destiny. We were very fortunate that His Excellency President Ramaphosa immediately took up this call, agreeing that indeed the people must speak. Like all of us, Comrade Tito was also very glad that the Government of National Unity also agreed to this call. I know that many throughout the country, black and white, women and men, young and the elderly, urban and rural, people of faith, traditional leaders and healers, academics, artists, sports people, and I'm certain many of you present at this solemn occasion are saying, as Tito would, we await with bated breath the national dialogue to begin. Then came the general election of May 29. As all of us know, for the very first time since liberation in 1994, Tito's organization, the ANC, failed to get the required majority of votes to govern South Africa in a number of provinces on its own. Comrade Tito agreed that these electoral results meant two things of the greatest importance to the ANC. These were that the results constituted a threat to the National Democratic Revolution, as well as a threat to the leader of that National Democratic Revolution, the ANC. Accordingly, we agreed that as members of the ANC, we shared a common responsibility with the leadership and the rest of the membership of the movement to answer the very urgent and critically important question practically: what must we do to defend the democratic revolution, as well as its leader, the ANC? In this regard, Ka-Tito insisted that it should be included in any delegation which would engage others seeking to answer this question. What must we do to defend the democratic revolution as well as its leader, the ANC? Ka-Tito departed the world of the living at a time when both his country and his movement needed him most. Both needed him because despite the temptations which have captured some among us, he remained the true revolutionary cadre formed during the years of struggle to defeat the apartheid crime against humanity. As we contemplate what we should do to honor that principled revolutionary and true patriot, Ka-Tito Mboweni, I have no hesitation in saying that we must serve as unwavering activists for the realization of these last two strategic tasks, which Tito considered to be of primary importance. I speak here of the pioneer inclusive national dialogue, which will enable the people to speak freely about the South Africa they want. I also speak of the historic and urgent task to defend the democratic revolution and its leader, the ANC. To honor Comrade Tito and his legacy, our voices must ring out very loud and clear to promote these two strategic tasks, reaching out to all of the relevant stakeholders, hoping that they will hear us. As I've heard Comrade Tito say on occasion, I too will repeat, those who have ears to hear, let them hear. Lava bangana tindlebe takutwa abadwe. Abo banendlebe zokuva mabeve. Let them hear the calls we make as we pay tribute to our comrade and friend, Tito Titus Mboweni. Program Director, I'm honored to have this opportunity to convey my wife's Anela's and my own heartfelt condolences, as well as those of the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, to all the Mboweni family, at the sudden and unexpected loss of a beloved and worthy son. Our dear Comrade Tito, please rest in eternal peace. We assure you of our commitment never to betray the cause you served throughout your adult life. Farewell, dear friend, and thank you.